Hey YouTube, the reason why I'm doing this video, I want to say, excuse me for my miseducation. Excuse me for my unholiness. Excuse me for my past mistakes. We're dealing with a time where our people are being programmed to think that they are originally born unrighteous, unholy, unfulfilled, incomplete, and without. They are programming you to think that you are incomplete because, I'm going to be real with you, when God began to make man and woman in his image, he said, this I made was good. He said that you were good. He didn't sit up there and he say, I created man and man is bad. He said, I created man and I made him in our image, man and woman, female and male origins. And he said, they are good. Now, when God creates something good, it's automatically good. We walking around here, we thinking that we're really sinful, and to be totally honest, we only 2 steps away from holiness. Half of us walking around here with a homosexual lifestyle, and that's the only speck that you got on you. You're more righteous than the righteous, but at the same time, you're walking around here with one blasphemy sin that makes you less than what you really supposed to be, because God says man should not sleep with mankind, and this was a commandment that he gave to us. But these commandments did not just start. They've been since the beginning of time to actually safeguard you from a lot of things. Even the angels knew these were commandments given to the angels, given to his children. So they knew his commandments before they started sitting up there saying to themselves, oh, we're going to play God. They knew God's commandments. And the biggest thing that we're walking around here, we're sitting up there saying, I'm unholy, I'm unrighteous, I'm this, I'm a demon, I'm demonic. And to be totally honest, there is really nothing demonic about you but the fact that you may have a few small specks on you. You haven't even met demonic yet. You're still considered partially righteous. But they gave you those few little specks so that they can sit up there and count you in with the crew, or count you in with the gang, so that you can just go with the flow. You got a few specks, so you just go with the flow. I was sitting up here and I was listening to a guy talk about how he grew up, his family had money, and he went off to the military. He has done all these great things and stuff like that. The military gave him an honorable discharge, all this different stuff, right? And then he begins to become a robber, a thief, and stuff like that. He's doing all these different things. And I started thinking to myself, they pick our children for a reason. He started getting involved in all kinds of unclean activities. And to be totally honest, even when we sitting up there and we unrighteous, we still be righteous to a certain degree. And I tell people this all the time. Even our children carry a certain righteousness to a certain degree that has been programmed in them throughout time. It's like a bloodline programming of righteousness that they can't shake, they can't get rid of. I mean, our kids being all out sin, doing sinful things. Like, let's be real. How many of you know that your kids right now is fornicating, right? But even in their fornication, they still trying to build a family. The man that they fornicating with, they consider him or her their husband or wife. They're sitting up here, they're trying to build a life here in fornication. And actually, that's not considered unholy. The act of committing fornication is the unholy part. But them trying to sit up here and get married isn't the unholy part. So they're trying to live right even when they're unholy, because they're committing sin. And these blemishes and these things that are going on, it's just so the devil can hold them long enough to say, I got command over them. I got rulership over them. They're going to do what I say. Why they're going to do what I say? It's because I got rulership over them. And a lot of times we don't know. We're in all-out warfare right now. And the rulership that the devil got on over them, he ain't even supposed to have. A lot of times we have lost religious warfare, and our children are going through because we have lost a religious war. You get what I'm saying? Our children going through hoism. Why? Because we have lost religious wars, man. We have lost religious wars, and it's doing a generational thing. Sin follows one generation to the next generation to the next generation. My mama committed adultery, so I'm committing adultery. My children gonna commit adultery. Everybody gonna commit adultery, and these are generational curses that we keep following in sin, and the devil keeps rejoicing because guess what? That one speck that's on that totem pole, that one sin that's on that totem pole says that we're unholy, so we go to hell. Not go to hell, but we're gonna go through hell. And this is on earth. We're going to go through hell on earth. Why? Because everybody's looking. That's a sinful person. That's an ungodly person. Why? Because they committed one sin, and that one speck is holding them back. We have been taught by society to ignore sinful behavior. I know that we have been taught to dwell in sin by our society. One way that I know that is we're accepting of homosexuality right now, transgender behavior, all this stuff we have became accepting of, and all this stuff is now taking our lives and ruling over us. And we became accepting of it, not because, you know, we care about God. No, we want to be correct. We want to be righteous. And that's how the enemy's getting us. He's getting us with sinful righteousness. And let me tell you about sinful righteousness. Sinful righteousness say, okay, I can sit up here and I can fornicate with a person for God knows how many years and not marry them off, but this is my wife, this is my husband. We out here pretending, but at the same time, we never made a commitment. We never went through a ceremonial thing. We never did anything, but we out here sinning. We getting it down with our bad self. And guess what? To him, I am only considered a concubine. And a concubine is considered a whore. I could never be his wife. I could never be more than that to him, because at the same time we're doing this outside of marriage, and that's part of the reason why a lot of our young women, we're in love with men, and men are in love with us, but we can never make it to the altar. Because guess what? The devil already done came in and took control because of the fornication and the lifestyle and the sin that we're living in, that we can't even get to the altar with our husbands and our wives that we want to get to the altar with, because sin already exists in this relationship and God doesn't. Or do he? Because we got to realize that there's so many ways that we serve God in our day-to-day that Satan sits up there and tells you you're not serving God. When you're educating yourself and growing yourself, this is a way that you serve God. God says, study to show thyself approved in all that you do. And everything that you do, study to show yourself approved. So when you're going to school, you're learning in school, guess what? You're showing that you're righteous. But guess what? Unrighteous acts follow, because when you get out of school, you with your homegirls, you cussing, you carrying on, you got the cussing music going on, you got all this ungodly music going on. This is sin up there still luring you away from God. And you got these specks of sin that only luring you away from God and saying, okay, well, this is still unrighteous. You're doing godly deeds, but you're still considered unrighteous. How many parents now feel bad about going to work, but at the same time, a man that don't work, don't eat? You cannot feed your family if you do not work. You cannot do what you have to do if you do not work. You cannot sit up there and have if you do not work. Women and men of God, we have to sit up here and stop feeling guilty, because we're out here working as providers and stuff like that. And God says when you work, you're working like you're working unto me. So you putting in a whole bunch of hours. You're a workaholic and stuff like that, but you're not seeing God in that. But let me tell you where God falls into that. You're doing what God really needs you to do, because I don't know how you expect to take over a kingdom if you're not doing the work of the kingdom, if you're not laboring, if you're not trying to study to show yourself approved in certain trades and certain areas, and we're losing certain things, but you're walking around and you're considering yourself less than righteous, when, to be totally honest with you, you are who the kingdom has called for. Gay man, gay woman, transgender man, transgender woman, you are who the kingdom has called for. That's why the devil is trying to destroy you and your identity and confuse you before God actually knows it's you. You were anointed from the womb to be great. You are anointed from the womb to actually walk in authority. But guess what? The enemy has already sought you out to destroy you before you even get to completion. And your little small sins, where you walking around here talking about you demonic, let me be real with you. You're not. Somebody else is controlling you. They got you simulated out, controlled out, puppeteered out, so they can sit up there and pipe for you, write out your destiny, your blessing, and everything else. But God talks about this. He talks about them switches, tears, and all this different stuff, because you were indeed a good seed. You were in a weed. I don't care what vegetative state you're in. You are indeed a good seed. And everything that you bring out of you, it brings forth goodness onto the earth. But at the same time, guess what the devil doing? The devil trying to keep those sins around. The devil trying to keep certain things going on. When he sat up there and he told Israel, he said, Israel, you have fallen into hoism again. He's in Malachi telling them, you have fallen into hoism again. How has this happened? You understand what I'm saying? How have you fallen so much? And let me be real with you. The enemy know how he had caused you to fall. The enemy know how he set up there and puppeteered you into falling. The enemy know how he did it. Let me be real with you. You can even be saved and completely righteous, and we lose a warfare. You going into sin. The enemy trying to sift you like wheat. It takes everything you have. You be like a crackhead foaming out the mouth. Saying, I don't want to sin. I don't want to sin. I don't want to go through this. You like a crackhead foaming out the mouth. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sin. I don't want to go back. I don't want to be abused. I don't want to go through this no more. I'm tired. I know better. I'm trying to do better. No, I'm not going back. And the enemy knows this. Because when we start losing wars, it starts shifting positions of authority and rank. So when you're not sinning, you're moving up in ranks amongst God. You're moving up in rank closer to God. And guess what? The enemy is surrounding God right now. The enemy is surrounding God. You ever had a whole bunch of people, you in a position of authority, don't none of them like you, but they act fake around you? I can't tell you how many times I have seen people not like people, but be fake as all outdoors around them. As soon as they come there, they talk, hey girl, how you doing? As soon as her back turned, I can't stand her. And talking about her, the little one, downplaying her, doing all this stuff. Man, I have seen it too many times. But guess what? We have to prepare ourselves for our shift in rank, because sometimes we outrank things and we be at the bottom. We be pushing carts at Publix, but outranking some things. We be in the bakery at Publix, outranking some things, because we're called and we're doing what God has called for us to do, but at the same time, we're not where we're supposed to be. We might be at Wendy's, or who knows, Walmart, wherever. We might be in some situations where we're outranking some things, but we're in the lowest position. We might even be homeless. That's why God sits up there and say, you be careful how you entertain certain strangers, because you might be in the presence of my angels. You might be in the presence of me, because good follows the righteous. Good follows the righteous. And guess what? The devil always want to keep us in some type of sin. He always want to keep us lying. I'm going to be real with you. I can't tell you how many times in this season here where I'm sitting up there and I'm rebuking certain spirits out of my life. I'm rebuking certain sins out of my life. And I find myself lying. And I start asking, well, why did I have to lie? And I'm being compelled to lie. You have to sit up there. You have to know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with certain things. So now I'm sitting up here. I try to be quiet more because I'm starting to realize the devil trying to use my tongue as a double-edged sword and use it for the wrong things. So now I got to be quiet more. Why? I just saw the devil show up. He's trying to use me. I got to try to be quiet more. Why? Because my enemy's trying to use me now. He's trying to weaponize me against my father, because my father has plans to sit up there and move me up in rank, and my enemy has plans to keep me at the bottom, because if I ever get close to God, if I ever make it to God's presence, my enemy is completely destroyed. That which is around him, I'm going to tell God about everything that his people is going through. I'm going to tell him about everything that's happening. I'm going to sit up there and I'm going to make sure the righteous know that the unrighteous sit up there and trick them, lied to them the whole time. This is what thus says the Lord, because this is the message that I got. This is what I observed. This is how it went down. Look, I took notes. Yes, it goes down like this. You know, that type of thing. But a lot of us were walking around. We're walking around. You consider yourself unrighteous and you the most holiest things there is. That's why when we're going into battle in certain cities, and you start seeing God start calling out homosexual women out of their prison of demonic possession, and he starts calling those women out, and they're coming out strong, and the people think something wrong. They got tears in their eyes. They didn't make those decisions. Because I know a lot of people like to blame you for all the evil and decisions that were made by the enemy. You didn't make those decisions. You was guiltless. You didn't have a choice in the situation. You were being puppeteered, and you got tears in your eyes, and you're like, I've been sleeping with this person and that person, and I knew it was wrong, and I'm so sorry. You got tears in your eyes because God's at the deliverance point. He's bringing you out from amongst that mess. And guess what? The enemy's trying to sit up there and make sure you dumbfounded enough where he can sit back and he can get back control. I done been told, because in this season I decided to serve God, I was told that I was going to be an 8. They're going to make me so dumb, I ain't going to even be able to talk English no more. I don't put it past them. They say, we're going to have to dumbfound her because she's serving God. And she's doing what she's supposed to do. Look at all the blessings God's given her. We can't even let her see the blessings that God's given her. So we reaping them up. We taking them out the mailbox. We taking stuff from her. We doing all this demonic stuff to her. We doing all this sinful stuff to her. Because at the same time, I didn't even know this. When my enemy had to tell me, he say, look, you've been righteous the whole time. Your only sin was the fact that you was committing fornication and adultery, which is having sex. Having sex. That was your only sin. My only sin was having sex, and here I am having sex, and some of these men may have been married. I didn't know you was married. Okay, but we didn't have sex. I didn't know the lifestyle you lived, but we were together. When I was with you, I was trying to make a family here. What's going on, bro? Why are you doing me like this? And then the enemy started saying, okay, well, someone was on assignment, baby. No man was on assignment. To be totally honest with you, you was thinking that you was sleeping with your man, and your man wasn't your man, because at the same time, you allowed the enemy to come in, and the enemy wanted to sleep with you. So a lot of us, we're dealing with situations where we think that we're sleeping with our boyfriend, and at the same time, we're not sleeping with our boyfriend because we blanked out somewhere, and they trying to hold us out and put us into holism and a lifestyle of ungodliness, and we're going through left and right. We're going through left and right. Why? Because God has called for us to be great, and the enemy mad. 38 high. We have to know what we're dealing with. We have to know what we're doing. We have to know that we're called. We have to walk in our calling, our anointing, what God has prepared for us. Because I'm telling you, the enemy has so many tricks up his sleeves, and these little small sins turn into all kinds of other sins. That little fornication sin, they trying to turn that into holism. That little adultery sin, yeah, that's turning into holism. They're trying to turn you out, and you won't even know that you turned out, because guess what? They sending men that's trying to pretend to be with you, and yeah, you knew them from your childhood, but at the same time, you weren't really involved with them. You knew them from the neighborhood, but you never was involved with that side of the neighborhood, and then you start to learn that that side of the neighborhood was sent on assignment to keep y'all oppressed. Your side of the neighborhood oppressed. Know what you're dealing with. Know what type of relationships you're entering into. Know what God has called for you to do, because I'm telling you right now, we walking around here and we talking about how demonic we is and how sinful we is, and we haven't even seen demonic yet. We haven't seen sinful yet. We haven't seen how bad this thing can get yet. We think we bad because we can walk around with a gun and shoot and kill somebody. Anybody can shoot and kill somebody and take a life. A child can do that. A baby can do that. Explain to me what you can do beyond that. Show me you are alpha. Show me that you can shake a demonic spirit off of you with no help, no ritual, no nothing. You just repping God. When you get that bad, where demons start to tremble, I ain't entering in her. I'm not saying nothing to her or him. That's when I know that you really about that and you really are alpha. Because right now we ain't looking like alphas. We looking like, God knows, we ain't even looking like. They calling themselves Zulu. I don't know what we looking like out here, but we ain't looking like none of the alphabet. We ain't even on the chart. We ain't even on the radar. We beneath all that mess. So we really have to sit up here and we really have to step it up, because a lot of y'all really think that y'all was born. I'm going to be real with you. Some of them sitting up there walking around, and this is part of the reason why I say y'all was born sinful. Some people sitting up there, I was born gay. No, you weren't born gay. They programmed you to be gay so they can hide all the abuse that they did to you. They didn't like you. They was mistreating you, your mama, your daddy, and your family, and you so great. And I'm not going to hide it from you. You're predestined for greatness, but guess what? They sitting up there, they hate you. And that's one of the things that they do. But guess what? You will never see how great you are as long as you stay into that one little sin. Because once you start sitting up there and you start shunning that one little sin, say, I'm not going to do it, and foam going to be coming out your mouth and everything, because the devil going to say, well, they been doing it. Why they ain't doing it now? This is how the devil keeps his reign over this vineyard. Keeping us dumbfounded, stupid, and in the same sins that we committed, whether they're one sin or two sins, that one sin is going to multiply in some kind of way. Let me be real with you. If they want to get you into hoism, they're going to hook you up with a dude that he drinks, he smokes, he carries on, and try to get you out there on drugs and into hoism. We have to really prepare our children for real warfare, because they walking around talking about how bad they is. Oh, I'm bad. Oh, you is, huh? Who rule over you? Who your master is? Show me who your master is. Do you even know who your master is? Have your master showed up and tried to sit up there and tell you he controlling you? You must be ain't heard about these school tapes. You must be ain't heard about how they trying to keep you an 8. You must be ain't heard about how they trying to take control. You must be ain't heard about how God trying to save your soul. You don't really know the full extent of what this really is, because we in warfare because our family was righteous, and our family before that was righteous, and our family before that was righteous, and our family before that was holy, and we ain't got a number of holy and righteous people in our family, even in our bloodline. Even when we be doing wrong, we still be more righteous than anybody in our time. We be knee deep in sin with our one little petty sin. And guess what? We think we so sinful, but we be righteous still, because God be sitting up there looking at us. You only got one sin. Shake it off. Seriously, shake it off. You ain't even sinful. You just pathetic right now. Shake it off. And this type of stuff is going on because we walking around and we thinking it's cool. We thinking it's okay. We're smoking weed. Why we? What you smoking weed for? Your mama ain't smoke weed. Your dad ain't smoke weed. But guess what? The devil has a plan to start something new with you. Because guess what? There are people that look up to you. So if you sitting up there and you an auntie or uncle or anything else, you got kids looking up to you. So if uncle smoke weed and auntie smoke weed, I can smoke weed because auntie is so great. You got people looking up to you. You are other people's role model. So the enemy's using you as a scepter because you have influence and control and authority. So they're using you as a scepter and saying, okay, well, this person is so great, and now other people want to be great like you. And that goes if you are homosexual too, because other people are looking up and saying, oh man, look how great they is. Look how awesome they is. And you have influence, but at the same time with your influence, you're influencing them closer to Satan and the devil without even knowing it. We really got to get rid of these small sins, these things that's holding us back from serving God and doing what God has called for us to do. We really got to break free of them. We got to do what we're called to do and actually walk in our authority, our power, because there are people watching us. There are people that's underneath us in ranks. When we fall, they fall too. The stronger you are in God, you might think that night that you slept with your girlfriend and y'all wasn't married, you only fell. No. You got people following you that fell too. The righteous fell with you. I done made some sinful mistakes that cost my people a lot of things, man. Cost them a lot of things, and even with it revised, I'm still sitting up there. I'm still trying to make up. I'm sorry. I should have did better. I should have known better. I'm sorry for the duration of your suffering. I'm sorry for what this is, but at the same time, I got to bring fruit worthy of repentance. I can't just tell you I'm sorry and continue to live the way I live, because I didn't know that you were under me. I didn't know that you were following me. I didn't know that you were sitting up there trying to help me. I didn't know that you were sitting up there going through because of me. I'm sorry that you went through, because I never meant for this to happen to you. I'm sorry to my kids, because my kids suffered too. I'm sorry for the fact that I couldn't see your suffering and do something about it. But if I had to been serving God, reading the Word of God, becoming more holy, sitting up there getting rid of these little small speckled sins, maybe you wouldn't have never went through what you went through. And guess what? I'm not going to sit up here and I'm not going to keep apologizing, because guess what? There's so much work that I have to do to ensure that I get rid of it all. So please forgive me if my fall affected you, because I know my kids were affected. My family was affected. My family went through things that they shouldn't have had to go through. Sons, daughters, and all. The biggest thing is ensuring that this never happens again. So I'm sitting up there, I'm trying to teach my daughter not to sin. I'm trying to teach my son not to sin. I'm trying to teach the next generation not to be as simple as me. And yes, although we think, oh, get it down with, well, Tommy ain't going to cost you nothing. Yeah, it costs you everything. So we need to be smart about these decisions we make, because these little small sins is keeping us amongst the dead. These little small sins is keeping us without our life. These little small sins is handicapping us. And we need to be getting up strong enough to fight right now. We need to get ready to get into all-out warfare, blow for blow. But guess what? You can't get up and go blow for blow in all the sin that we commit, because we can't even see our enemies. And our enemies know it. And they sitting up there, they rejoicing over us with what we're doing, and trying to still compel us to stand to sin so they can throw it up in our face. Get rid of every sin. Get rid of everything that's stopping you from being a perfect example of who you're supposed to be in accordance with the Word of God. May these words bless you, keep you holy, keep you safe, and get these demons out of this place. Stay blessed.